Hello everybody, this is Jeremy within the DAW. Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be starting our little mini-series on the Ujam line of products. Now we're going to be starting off taking a look at Silk, Amber, Royal, and Solid. These are essentially their older plugins mixed with some of their newer ones. Silk is their version of a nylon string guitar instrument, and it's actually really cool. The way that all of these plugins are designed is essentially you choose what phrases that you want to have played, whether it being the common phrases, bass notes, stuff like that. And then you have your special style phrases, which change depending on the styles that you choose. And that's all done on the left side of your keyboard, while on the right side is your chords or notes. You have the ability to select the key that you're in, and that will essentially make it so that you're always in key no matter what note you hit. And then you have latch features, so you can make it latch. You have control for swing, timing, feel, variance, as well as the speed of the playing, so you can double speed it. Or maybe even half speed it. In the main controls for Silk and for Amber, you have fret noise, doubling, character, which is sheen, bright, original, full, and rich. You have your positioning of the microphone, and you have your mic choice. You also have animate, volume, reverb, attack, and delay. And the way that I have it set up is the way that I ideally like it. Now, Silk is extremely impressive. Let me just show you what Silk sounds like. I'm going to grab some MIDI that I made inside of Orb Producer Suites, and it's literally just in the key of E major. Let's listen to it, just triggering from this random selection of chords. That sounds really good, right? Now what we can do is we can fine tune this by using some of these swing and timing controls to add variance in the way that it's triggering the playback. But we can also use other MIDI sections to actually trigger different parts. So I can do up-down picking, 3-note arpeggios, and even some chord highs. Now the way that I like to have this set up is I will have my acoustic guitar be my lead. In this case, it's going to be a nylon string. So I'm going to trigger this to be 3-note arpeggios. And then maybe around the fourth one or third one, I'm going to make it a 4th-note arpeggio. And then I'm just going to duplicate this a couple times, and I'm basically done with this section. Let's just take a listen to it. Now, of course, we can fine tune this. I did not even take a listen to this before we did it, so I can easily just go in here. Let's make this full screen so you can see it. So we can go in here and we can say, you know what? I didn't like the 4th-note arpeggios. Let's remove these and make them easy after the picking, right? That sounds fantastic. Next, let's take a look at Amber. Now, Amber is the exact same thing, only for acoustic guitar with steel strings. So we're going to get really cool picking. So we're going to set it to latch. And then, of course, we have styles that we can choose from. Really cool. Now for my needs, I'm going to go for something slow. Something like that sounds really good. So I'm going to grab the original chords, put it back into Amber, and let's modify these. Now, my view is a little bit different because I actually triggered and named every single style inside of Studio One. So you can actually, instead of having the keyboard view, have it in drum view and make a preset. And I did that for Silk, and Silk has essentially the same controls as Amber. So I want to get that. That should be around the 1 section. So we'll go style 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we just go right here. It's the 3-note arpeggiator. Let's try the picking. We'll zoom in. and drag it down. Cool, so I'm thinking of having it set up something like this. And then we're going to go back into here on the 4th note. And for this, we're just going to simply set it up like this. And then we can very easily just quantize it and duplicate. So let's take a listen. As you can see, we've spent like 3 minutes making this. Let's listen to it. Cool. I like that. That sounds really good. Next, we're going to take a look at Royal. Now, this is Royal number 2, their virtual bassist, and they have 3 virtual bassists. We're going to be taking a look at every single one of them. Royal is one of my favorites, that and Rowdy. Now, this one has much different controls and has a much cooler layout. That's because this is one of their newer plugins. I'm really excited about this because I'm hoping they're going to update Silk and Amber to look like this, but you're also able to grab the MIDI from Royal and from Virtual Drummer and their Beatmaker plugins and actually drag it into your session so you can have it trigger any virtual instrument or even just for recall. Now this has similar controls. You have your force, dampening, your pickup control for which pickup you're on. You have your character control, amp selection. In this case, we're going to go for soul, or we can even have direct out, but I don't feel like reamping it through my Helix, so we're not going to be doing that. We have control for drop tuning, octavers, chorusing for the finisher effect, which has a ton of options. We have your equalizer, compressor, and of course, micro tuning, latch control, your presets for which style phrases you want. So we'll choose this one. Right? And we can go for something more different, you know? And all of their newer virtual bassists and their virtual drummers and stuff like that essentially have a way of doing instrument control, where you have control of the way that it plays and you can play it like an instrument. This is really cool. You basically have all the same options, only a lot more functionality for if you want to use this outside of just triggering random loops. So in this case, we're going to go for a common phrase again. So again, we just drag this down and let's take a listen to Royal. Not really into that. So let's try this common phrase. Let's try maybe some of these other common phrases. And in this case, we might even need a style phrase. So let's go for something like this one. I like it. And as you see, it even tells you the chord that's triggering it. So we're going to go for this. Let's try phrase 2. Okay, this, and just duplicate it a couple times and take a listen to it. Cool. And then this is a case where I would very easily change up a few things, like move these closer to each other because I like the way that they're kind of feeling and vibing together. And we have to make sure that these are triggering in. I think we're done for the bass line. Set the levels. Cool, I like that, that sounds good. And this is the Virtual Drummer Solid. Very similar layout. You have your presets up here. You have your styles right here. You have latch control, micro timing, the ability to play it like an instrument right here. You have your drum kit, which is soft, deep, natural, tight, and hard. But a really cool thing with the version 2 of the Virtual Drummer series is you can actually go into each individual one and control the volume as well as the drum type. So let's say we go for the kick. Let's change it to type A, type D. I like the B. And we can control stuff like the decay, tuning, the reverb, and even make it have individual outputs if we want to mix it in our DAW. We have ambient control and reverb, saturation, and a maximizer, and we have a couple of presets for the reverb. Pretty simple. Now the style section is much different because there are no basic styles. All of them are part of the style section, but you once again have the ability to drag and drop these styles, which is really cool. So what I want to do is I want to start off by just finding a random verse. Something a little bit slower. Let's go for a 80s pop ballad. That sounds good. We're just going to drag it down. Now I want to change the way that this sounds. Let's find a preset. That sounds pretty okay for now. And then for the sake of fun, let's find a fill. It's going to end right here. And we're going to grab a different verse. Just for fun, let's listen to this. Cool, I'm done. It's really simple to get started with this stuff. I am a very big fan of Ujam products. I use them a lot in early production work when I don't have a lot of options. I'm running at a very tight budget and I don't have a lot of time. Oftentimes I will just be like, what is the key signature you're in? Let's see if we can find some stuff. And then for my case, I will usually record those parts myself just because I want to have some variance and I want to add my own little unique spin on things. But for someone who does not play an instrument, easily grab one of these plugins, slap it in his session, and there he goes. He has an acoustic guitar, he has an electric guitar. It sounds very useful, it sounds very good, and it does sound very natural. And that is because it is actually sampled real playing. Is this the end-all be-all? I definitely think there is no replacing a real musician, but this is a very great way of starting off a production right. Anyway, that is it for this part of the video series. We really just wanted to take a quick look at some of these plugins that I really like. Silk and Amber are definitely my top go-to for their virtual guitarist series. Royal is one of my favorite virtual bass players in general. I oftentimes use it in instrument mode for any of my own productions when I'm doing hard rock or metal. And then Solid is just a great way of having a natural drum sound that you actually have the ability to tweak. Like I said, you're able to have it have individual outputs, and you can turn all of the effects off so you can actually mix this the way that you want. Oftentimes when I'm working with Virtual Drummer Solid, I will actually stem it out into my DAW and then mix it through my analog gear, and that will give me a much more unique vibe, but the way that you have the controls is very cool. That's it for this video. This is Jeremy within the DAW. Please remember to subscribe and leave comments down below. We love talking to you guys. We are all pretty much stuck at home right now due to the quarantine. So we're going to be starting to shell out a bunch of videos as much as possible. So if you want to talk to us, get involved, tell us what you want to see next, do that. We are more than willing to do that. And remember to check out our website inthedaw.com, where we will have free Helix preset patches, as well as free impulse responses that I make myself using my gear. You're also able to get into contact with us directly there. And that's it. Hope to see you guys next time. Bye.